you'll find in our big ideas, so that's at arc-invest.com, the building blocks for our price forecast. And our base case is in the $600,000 range. Our bull case, and we think the probability of the bull case has increased with this SEC approval. This is a green light. Our bull case is $1.5 million by 2030. You can see the building blocks. You can see how conservative we are in terms of those building blocks. This is a big idea. It is the first global, decentralized, digital, rules-based, critical there, rules-based monetary system in history. It is a very big idea.
And let me ask you the separate question, which is, do you believe that for it to get to those type of numbers, it has to become a currency, not just an asset? One of the things that Brian Armstrong was talking about is he thinks that this is just going to create a lot more interest in crypto across the board, and that is what's going to actually propel this and might even change the dynamic with which Bitcoin is being used, which is currently today as digital gold or something like that, but potentially actually could leapfrog into the currency that people have talked about for many years.
Yes, our first paper on this was in 2015. The white paper is still on our site. And we tried to figure out, could Bitcoin serve the three roles of money? Store of value, as you say, most people agree with that one. Means of exchange, unit of account. And the answer to that was yes. We put out a Bitcoin brainstorm with our partner Bitcoin Park in Nashville. And it examines the convergence of artificial intelligence and Bitcoin. And you'll hear his nickname's Roast Beef on that podcast talk about that convergence and how it's going to redefine the division of labor. It's probably going to put the gig economy on steroids. And it's starting already in the emerging markets, in Africa in particular. So it's very exciting. I don't think people understand how hard at work the developers around the world have been. Lightning Network is a big part of leveraging the base layer Bitcoin. So we're very excited. We're so happy that ARKB is going to be part of the ecosystem.
Let's talk about these ETFs, and then I want to go broad and sort of get your sense of where the market is and where crypto's going and what's happening here. But tell us about these ETFs specifically and what you're trying to do.
Yes, with our partner 21 Shares, which is the largest crypto ETP provider in the world, mainly European focused, we are launching 5 ETFs. The strategies are going to be around Bitcoin futures, Ethereum futures, one will be Bitcoin futures and cash, one will be Bitcoin futures and Ethereum futures, and then the last one will be broader Bitcoin and companies exposed to digital assets, equities.
How much of this is a dress rehearsal in your mind for a moment in which the SEC says, okay, cat's out of the bag, you can actually issue an ETF that's directly invested in Bitcoin?
Well, it certainly is a dress rehearsal. We think there's a place. I think these strategies will be more probably institutionally focused, and I think the spot coin Bitcoin ETF will be perhaps more retail focused.
Is that something you want to do eventually?
A spot Bitcoin?
Yes.
Yes. What's interesting about it is, if you look at the pecking order, our filing is next in line.
No, I know you're on the list. So let me ask you about that, because I think, and the question is actually at $36,000. Do you think that the move that we've seen in Bitcoin over the last, 2 months now, how much of that is a function of sort of a pent-up demand or an anticipation that the SEC, because folks like BlackRock and Fidelity and you and others have made these applications, have this sense that it's more likely to happen now than it was a year or two ago?
Yeah.
And is that misguided? Is that realistic? What is that?
I think what has happened, the change, is that the SEC actually asked us questions. I think asked us questions, asked BlackRock, probably has asked a lot. Whereas before, our filings were just rejected out of hand.
Okay.
So that is movement. That is significant. And, over the years, I've gotten to know the research people at the SEC, and I'm very impressed. I was impressed by the questions they asked us, too. So
what were the kinds of questions they asked?
a lot of them were very technical. They're all about protecting the consumer. And, of course, the showstopper, at least from Gary Gensler's point of view, is he thinks Bitcoin can be manipulated. And, this is a decentralized, transparent network. You can follow all the activity online. It's highly unlikely.
But it had to be that because he understands, Cathie. He's got enough. Not many people do. A lot of people don't have enough knowledge about how it works to make an informed decision about Bitcoin. He taught at MIT so he understands that it's not a Ponzi scheme or a Beanie Baby.
Right.
So there has to be something else.
Well, I don't know what it is. I have wondered. There's speculation that he's interested in the Treasury Secretary position at some point. What does the Treasury Secretary?
Being fiat for the government? I mean,
very focused on. I don't know. I don't understand it myself because he definitely understands.
He understands. So there's something else.
There's something.
Okay, but how much do you account for the move in Bitcoin as speculation on an ETF being approved? And is it a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of situation, or is it just a straight shot if in fact that were to come to be?
I am sure there is some anticipation, and there could even be a sell on the news. But the fundamentals, we put out a Bitcoin monthly piece every month, and you can see the health of the network using our on-chain metrics. The health of the network is almost as good as it gets. And it seems like this is a bull market. Sure, we'll have puts and takes. Nothing goes straight up. But I think this flight to quality, Larry Fink used that expression. We call it flight to safety. You look at what happened during the regional bank crisis. Bitcoin went from 19,000 to nearly 30,000 as the KRE, the bank, the regional bank stock index was imploding. If you look at the bank stock index today, it is back down close to where it was in March. So when Larry might say flight to quality, which is good, it's true, we would say flight to safety because there's no counterparty risk in Bitcoin.
In terms of the ETF that is launching, that invests in equities related to Bitcoin, what do you think will be the better performer over, let's say, 5 years? An ETF that invests in the equity related to Bitcoin or Bitcoin itself?
We believe Bitcoin will be the better performer longer term. But this is a diversified exposure through equities. There are companies, we're trying to find the company that is going to produce the digital wallet. That will be a very important position. Is it Coinbase? Is it Square with Cash App? Is it Robinhood? In Latin America, is it Mercado Libre or Nubank? So
those swaps is there between this ETF that invests in the equity with the holdings in some of your other ETFs like ARK Invest?
Probably the biggest overlap would be ARKF, the fintech portfolio. Yes.
You just mentioned a number of companies, all of whom have had stocks that have been challenged, including Robinhood. How do you think about those companies right now?
Well, we do think that each of them has a very good opportunity in the digital wallet space. Basically, if you think about WeChat Pay, that kind of digital wallet where all financial services take place, there's peer-to-peer interaction, there's commerce over it. We believe that the rails in the United States have been good enough,
right?
But WeChat Pay showed the way, and I think we have.
But is that a one-player winner? Meaning, and by the way, Elon Musk would like to be that winner with X, if
absolutely, absolutely, and I think he's got big plans. Absolutely, he started in the fintech space, and of course sold out to PayPal. So, yeah.
I mean, on Coinbase, I used to go down and I had like 4 pages of coins and eventually it got to the point where people said there's Bitcoin and everything else. Do you think is there an application for blockchain that involves something that Bitcoin does not, lead the world with? Is there something else that you put in here?
Sure. The reason we have focused as much on Ether, Ethereum as we have is we think, that is the smart contract network. That is the decentralized finance network.
So Bitcoin and Ether, anything beyond that?
Well, there are infrastructure players. Solana is doing a really good job. I mean, if you look at Ether was faster and cheaper than Bitcoin in the day. That's how we got Ether. Solana is even faster and cost-effective than Ether. So, there are infrastructure plays. We do believe Web3, digital assets. That's a big idea, actually. Digital assets with property rights. First time ever online that we're seeing property rights.
Do you think that some bears with Bitcoin have said, okay, there will be a Bitcoin 2.0 that someone comes up with? I don't know whether there's something more perfect.
There are so many.
Is there anything more perfect? Can there be something more perfect than Bitcoin?
I think most people understand that Bitcoin is the money revolution. This is the first global.
A lot of people don't understand that because they haven't read anything about it.
Right, private, so no government oversight, digital, very important, rules-based monetary system in history. And Art Laffer, my professor, mentor, and friend, when we did our first paper on and took our first position in Bitcoin in 2015, when he understood what this was, he said, I've been waiting for this since they closed the gold window in 1970.